this is going to come up here, and it will, there you go. So it's starting, okay?
All right.
We'll start like this. Morning, everyone. I don't know if the stream has started yet. I know we're supposed to give a 5-minute lead-in time, but we'll go ahead and get started. So, good morning, everyone. This is Bill from AT Makers. This is our first live attempt at video streaming here. We'll see how it works. It's certainly being recorded, so I'll post it up to the group later today. We are on YouTube, and there is a spot on YouTube where if you'd like to type in any chat questions, we can see them. I will also occasionally be popping back in on the Facebook group to see if there's any comments there. I expect that most of you are working right now and that most of you will watch this recorded, but I had an opportunity to do a live post, and Ryan was here and Jim was here, and we decided to go ahead and do it. So let me welcome Ryan Olson. How are you?
Thanks.
So Ryan is my local 3D Hubs printing specialist, printing provider, and he was able to print our 3D printed parts for the camera-mounted switches. I mainly did that. I have a 3D printer here, and I printed my own, but I wanted to make sure that somebody else who wasn't actively involved in watching every print and knowing what they were used for, I wanted to make sure they would turn out well in case this went to a high school or somebody, hopefully they all will go to high schools and have them printed. And the response back was, well, what if I don't have a 3D printer? And so I knew 3D Hubs existed. 3D Hubs is a printing service that will print your parts for you using a local provider usually. You can also use somebody like Ryan and have them ship them to you, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
And we're going to walk through what we did and what this costs and maybe a little bit about why you do this and whether there's money in it or whether the high school kids who like 3D printing, if they wanted to do this as a job, we could ask Jim to come in and see if this is a viable business or not, right? But let's go ahead and get started. We've got some things that Ryan brought in. First, Ryan, how long have you been doing this?
I've been printing for about a year now. I got my first printer last year, early, probably January, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I was in robotics, FTC robotics for about three or four my high school years, and I loved CADing, and for some of our requirements, CADing is a helper when it comes to designing your robot and getting judged.
Right.
So I was like, okay, now that I know CAD, it would be really cool if I could actually bring some of my ideas to life versus CADing them out and then going through later and having to manually drill them and create my own parts. And now I can create really cool parts. So got a printer, and I loved it. And it was just something you can create it, and then within a few hours it's brought to life.
Right.
You don't have to wait. So I mean, printing isn't a fast process, but it is
short.
Pretty,
if you think about from when it's in your brain to when it's in your hand,
yes,
it's never been that short before.
No, exactly.
Right.
3 hours of printing, and you've got an object that is just great.
Yeah.
So
I actually walked them through yesterday. I posted a video of. Can you grab me that stand right there?
Yes.
That whole thing. So I actually printed this. I had a request come in from Brian Whitmer, one of our more active folks, and they asked, how do people mount eye gaze? This is an eye gaze camera. And I said, well, I guess I could make one mount. I mean, I've already got the T-nut thing figured out. I could probably pop this on there. So I actually made them a video walking through Fusion 360, and here's how we did it. Now, I walked them through the timeline. So I didn't walk them through when I actually made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
But it looked like I really knew what I was doing. It was great. But this came out, I mean, remarkably strong. It prints beautifully. It's even got little tabs. And you couldn't do that 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You
would
couldn't.
have had to manually make it, and it wouldn't have been as precise, and
you
really look as good as well.
You would have sent it out to, well, first of all, you would have made it by hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But if you sent it out, you would have done, extruding, right, or forming. There's no way, injection molding, there's no way you'd be doing this just a few years ago. And so some of the folks have said, well, wait, I don't need a 3D printer long term. I just need these parts. My answer to them, and I really mean this, go talk to your high school STEM program. They probably have an idle 3D printer, right? I mean,
a lot of schools do that because they have the printer and people just don't use them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
It's just unfortunate because it's so fun and you can be creative with it. You know.
Yep. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And in fact, it's good that they're starting to add the A, right, in STEAM, because if you look at Adafruit and stuff, a lot of what they're actually making are cosplay parts. They're art.
Yeah, they
right?
are.
They're art that is being made with fused filament, right? So let's take a look at a couple things that you brought in, and then we'll go ahead and talk through the process of how to use a 3D printing service, what it costs, and things like that.
Right.
Okay. So let me switch this a little bit here. And I'm gonna very quickly just touch base here to make sure I got no questions. There's no questions. I really need a third monitor. That's awful. So let's go ahead and switch over to the overhead. All right. So some of you guys will find these familiar. Let me focus in here. So these are these are actually the part that I sent you and asked you to print
Yes.
beforehand. Yeah. So let's switch.
All right.
All right. There you go. So these are actually the part that I sent you. These are for a microlight switch from AbleNet. That's the switch that mounts on these. And these are AT switches. We talked last time you were here about what these are used for. Most of the folks who are going to watch this know that part. They just don't know how this part works. And as you'll see, they came out great. This is one that you printed. Can you hand me that green one right there?
Yep.
Right, so this is actually my first prototype. It's a little bit different. It has a smaller lip on it. There you go. But you can see that the ones that he printed came out at least as good as mine, and they print beautifully. In fact, this is the area where you would look for errors, and actually they came out great. They're smooth. They would fit perfectly. They would hold the T-nut, and they would do a great job of working. And they weren't expensive. I mean, I think I sent you under $10 to get 3 of these made. And it was very quick because we happened to be a mile or two apart. We lived very close to each other, but we didn't know that when I signed up for it. And in fact, you would have shipped it the next day anyways.
I would have shipped it, maybe even the same day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because 4 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning is when you submitted it.
That's
so
true.
Same day.
We won't expect them to do that.
No.
But those of us who are on nocturnal cycles,
I'll answer.
yeah, he is as well, and I think probably a lot of folks who are doing what you are. I will. We'll look at some other ones that I've printed, and maybe you can give me an estimate of whether you'd have any trouble with them. I doubt you will, but we'll go through some as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the process here of what we went through in order to get these printed. What I went through to work with you to get them printed. Okay, so we're going to switch to this scene right here. Okay, and so this is a. Oh, sorry. I do that a lot. Sorry. I'm clicking on the screen up top thinking it's going to make the mouse work. So this right here is a camera mount that I did yesterday. Okay, and it is this one right here that we were just talking about. If I wanted to get you to print this, let's walk through how I would do it, and then you can tell me ballpark what it would cost and how long it would take, and if you saw any problems with it.
All right.
Now, don't look at this one.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Pretend that we're really doing this where I submit it. Okay, so I would go here to Thingiverse, which is where the camera mount is located. And I'd say, oh, this is exactly what I want. And I would go down here to the Thing files, and I would grab this STL file. So the STL file is a stereolithography file. That's because that's what it used to be used for. But it is the file that defines the instructions for the 3D printer to print it. The other file here, the F3D file, is the Fusion 360 file. That allows you to make modifications to it, right? But what you would need would be this one. You would need this STL file right here.
The STL or an OBJ, .obj, if it depends on the maker. If they supply an OBJ or STL, they'll both work. So.
Okay, and in our case, if you're using mine, they will always be STLs, because I don't even know how to make an OBJ file, but whatever. So I will download this STL file. it is now down here in my download folder underneath our pictures on the left. And then what would I do? Where would I go to get this printed?
All right, so you'd go to 3dhubs.com, and you have that open over there.
Over here.
All right, so then, yeah.
Let's just go up to the top here.
All right.
Let's go back all the way back up to 3D Hubs. Like I just showed up, and
this is where somebody would come to the first time they type in 3D Hubs. You know,
right.
Type in 3D Hubs in Google or whatever. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you have your part downloaded already. So then you're going to go up to the top right corner that says 3D Print. Okay. And you already have a model uploaded.
I do. So let's go ahead and walk through it from the start, though. Let's start through it from the very beginning. They don't even have an account yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me log out. We'll walk through the whole thing. And so the first thing I did was I got an instant quote. I clicked on the Get Instant Quote before I even had an account, and it asked me to upload the STL file.
Okay.
Okay. So I click Get Instant Quotes. I wait for it to pop up, and it says File Uploader, and it says drag parts here or browse for a file. And the file is, it's in my Downloads folder, and it's named IX mount. So that's the file that I downloaded a second ago. And sorry, my computer is slow with this streaming going on. But here, see if it does it. Come on. You see that too, right? This is not me going crazy, right? All right, so that's uploading that file. It's going to upload the STL file to 3D Hubs. Now, this is you're not involved yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yep. So at this point, we don't know whether I'm going to use you or some other provider.
Correct.
The
I'll
hub
show
is
you a big list of people local first that have good reviews. They have got some algorithm that calculates it to be a recommended one, which would be kind of distance versus rating. So
Gotcha.
then they're going to appear up top.
All right. So this is uploaded, and now it says selected material. What are they probably going to want?
In most cases, for this device, you're going to want to go with general purpose plastics. When you go into the high detail resin or the SLS nylon, you're going to be spending probably over $50.
Okay.
And it's not necessary for
so
this.
That's more for prototypes. If you're a commercial entity and you want to make a prototype, and you don't have the quality printer that you need to do a long-term one. So we choose.
And the general purpose plastic printed excellent with those other ones, and it's strong enough. It's going to be durable for pretty much it's the remainder of the Switch.
Gotcha.
Life.
Gotcha. So I chose general purpose plastic. Now it says select a 3D printing service. This is how I would find you.
Yes, exactly.
And you'll notice that the first one here, Retigic.
Yeah, Retigic's Hub.
Yeah. Retigic's Hub is the first one here, and that is Ryan's hub. And you'll see that it's got for me here a price, whether I want to print it on PLA or premium PLA. It's got some pictures of his work. And then the next one down is Greenlee's Hub, FYI's Hub. These are all folks that are near me. And it's sorted probably by, it says recommended. I also could say closest.
Yep. And then it shows you down below the rating. It says, like, for me, I'm located in Palm Harbor, which is roughly 8.2 kilometers, But
it's way closer than
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So, but it's very close. So let's say I chose you. I said select. Okay. It now says what material do I want to print with? Well, in this, they're just going to say PLA.
PLA or ABS is the things that you'd want it printed in. I don't do ABS as of now. It's not. I prefer it PLA, and it's more than strong enough to do what you want. So pretty much just choose. You could choose the cheapest option that the hub provides.
Right.
Because you don't. This isn't something that needs to be like super precise down to like the thousandths of an inch.
Right. The only exception I might say to that, for those of you who are watching Jeff's printed parts about holding the pulse oximeter up. That actually is holding a significant amount of weight. So if you've got something where it's going to be holding 10 pounds on a pole, maybe talk to me or talk to Ryan, right? Find out what is the best material for what you're doing. But if we're talking about switch mounts or things like that, any of these plastics are more than strong enough to hold this. So we'll choose the cheapest thing here, which is PLA, and we'll pick a color. And these are the colors that you have in stock, I assume. And then one of them is I choose get 5% off.
Yeah.
All right. Is that a standard thing, or did you make that up?
There are people who just say that like I get to choose, meaning the hub gets to choose. I did that mostly because if I've got a print, if I've got somebody else's going on, like let's say somebody ordered something that was already in orange,
Right.
and I've got one order, well, I would just merge that into that order, and it would make it easier for me and quicker for me, and I
Right.
could just give them 5% off. You know.
All right.
No
Fair enough.
hassle.
Fair enough. So let's choose.
Should we go into
green.
the micron thing to kind of just to give them an idea,
Sure.
just so they don't.
Sure. But
they don't
is
realize.
that's on the next page,
No,
right?
that was actually right there.
Oh.
Go back to
Oh,
the colors. Colors.
Colors. All right.
And you've got your 300, 200.
All right. So let's go ahead and figure out what these are. I just realized what those were. So these numbers, the microns, are the width of the layers between the width between each layer on the 3D printed part.
Yes.
Right. And so micron is this means 0.2 millimeters is
Yes.
200 microns.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And so on your setting, if you're a 3D printer, it's probably going to say 0.2 millimeters.
Yes.
But it is basically, if we look real carefully at the overhead, right here. So if you look real carefully at one of these, see how close it can go in there, you'll actually see little lines. Let me see if I can, oh, here, we'll do it on mine, you'll be able to see the lines better. All right, so I printed this in this orientation. No, I didn't, but here.
Lines are still just too small.
Yeah, so I probably did print this too small for you to see the lines. Oh, I know where you can see the lines. You can see them here. All right. So on this large print, this is great.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, because because there's such a large slope, right? So the run is long enough that you can see the rise, right? So every one of these steps is 200 millimeters. In this case, it's 0.25 millimeters per layer. Right, so the numbers that you saw on the form there are how tight you want these to be, right?
Correct,
So how
yep.
smooth do you need this to be?
Yep. The lower the micron, the higher the resolution.
Right, right. So the smaller your layer, the smoother it's going to be.
Yep.
And in our case, for all of, sorry, I'm doing it again. For all of these, even 300 would work
300
fine.
work. You wouldn't be able to see the words on the side. It'd be a little iffy.
Okay.
But 200 is kind of like a I would consider a generic
Right.
kind of layer height because it prints well when it comes to detail, but at the same time it's
not
reasonably
crazy.
priced. You know,
Right.
and the 100 you can't really see the lines. It's almost pointless unless you're doing more of an art kind of an artistic type thing where
Right.
the
Or maybe if
lines
you're making
matter.
a mold.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Where you need just really smooth edges.
Right. So, so can you tell me real quick why would so why is it more?
Why is it more?
Yeah.
All right. So,
So like let's say I wanted to print this in 100. Why would it cost me more? Isn't it going to be about the same amount of filament?
it's going to be the exact same amount of filament, but what you're doing is you're paying for the time of the machine
Right.
that's considered out of order when your part is being printed, because then I can't print anything else. So if you're using 200 micron, you're building up your layers twice as much as a 100,
Right.
which means my machine is going to be offline for twice as long.
Right.
Which
So you
means
can
I have
get
to
half
charge
as many done in a day.
Exactly.
You got to charge more
Yep.
money, and
Yep.
it's not you don't charge double, right? So
No.
when I looked, it was if you go, let me go back so they can see. Sorry, I'm not good at the live thing yet, guys. So it looks like you added another 33 cents per gram. Oh, for this part.
For the whole part,
So
yeah.
for the whole part, it would be an additional 33 cents. Okay. So that in the 200, that's certainly going to be worth it because it will look better. The other thing is you won't have to drill out the holes. So that's the big difference I saw is that when I did this at 300 millimeters or 0.3 millimeters, these holes right here needed to be drilled out. The bigger ones were okay, but the smaller parts, like this hole right here on this, this is a 440 hole for the micro. I had to drill it out because there was the cruft in there.
Yeah.
But at 200, you don't have to. That is what I'd recommend. So we'll go with green at 200 microns. Let me switch back to here. So we're going green, 200 microns. So this is great. What do I get if I download the data sheet?
I think what you're going to get is you're going to get the data sheet of the material.
Okay.
I'm not involved really in the customer side of it, so
Gotcha.
I'm not exactly sure what would happen there, but I'm pretty sure it'll show you the PLA, like this, the strength and everything of the PLA.
Gotcha. And so this says it's going to cost me $2.11. It'll be ready by the 11th of February, and you'll only pay when your order is accepted, and they basically guarantee that you're not going to rip me off.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like what PayPal does with their transaction. You're also backed, if you pay with PayPal, you're backed twice. Because you get 3D Hubs and PayPal.
Okay.
So it's even more safe if you don't trust
And
them.
by the way, I would really recommend you use PayPal. And the reason, and this is a complaint, I called 3D Hubs about this complaint. So 3D Hubs is based in the Netherlands. It's in Amsterdam. And so for me, I paid 3D Hubs, and my bank saw a transaction in Amsterdam and immediately shut down my card.
Yeah.
So use PayPal. Even if you use your credit card through PayPal, you won't shut off your credit card. Now, it was all legit. My bank called me 10 minutes later. My card was back on. But it was a hassle. And I think they really need to fix that.
They really do. It's because the way that when you set up the merchant side, you have issues as well because now you do international transactions.
Every transaction's international,
and it's got to transfer currencies as well, which then changes your
and
actual
you lose money.
price.
Yeah,
you do. You do.
And you're always one who loses money.
Yes, exactly.
You never make money on that, right? All right. So we're at the point here. We're at the first page of the wizard. Sorry, guys. So we'll hit next. It'll ask for details. It asks for my zip code or delivery, and it says Tarpon Springs, which is where I am. And it says free Pinellas County shipping.
The unfortunate thing about that is I have that for $50 or more, but it's hidden, and I didn't know that would actually be hidden. So I'm glad I saw this. But in this case, we can choose that. But another thing that you want to keep in mind is, let's say that you do choose a small flat rate box. Okay,
right.
That box is only so big. I mean, of course, it's going to fit these, but let's say you want to order something bigger. The merchant or the hub can change the size later,
right,
if your box does need to be bigger. So if you choose this might not be the end result of your shipping charges.
Correct, but you won't be surprised. So we went through this.
Yes.
Right. So we'll get to this. We'll walk through what we actually did. But the idea is that after you make these initial choices, the hub will read your request, look at it, and say, that's not going to fit in the box.
Yep.
And come back to you and say, hey, I need to charge you an extra $3 for a larger box. And you'll say, oh, I don't want to do it, or sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? So that worked pretty well.
Yep, and you discuss before you pay.
Right.
So then
and
that's
print.
good. Yes, exactly.
Before you print, right. So, all right, so we'll choose a flat rate envelope for $3.
Yeah, that'd work.
Which would work fine, and I can send a comment saying, be nice to me, these are for AT, for Assistive Technology, and whatever.
Pretty much whatever you want if you have a special request, or just want to say hi.
Yeah. So I'll say next. It's got my email. I got to put in some basic stuff here, and this is fine. My cell phone number. These are all messed up. So here. That's not my cell phone number. And I'll go ahead and send this is for work. I do agree. And send the order. And so now Ryan, it says there's already a user with this email. Of course there is.
You haven't signed in.
No.
Go to already have an account then, I guess, would be the easiest way to do it.
Sure, okay. Well, you guys would set up your own, but
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and say I already have an account. There's my account. And we'll send the order. We're going to cancel that. I don't want it.
Okay.
So you can print it if you want to, but I'm not going to pay you for it. Maybe I'll send one to Brian. I don't know. All right, so this is sending it to you, and it says, so this is where we did all of our work, right? So the order request has been sent.
Yep, and I should have probably just got a notification that you purchased or you requested an order.
Excellent. So he's now got everything he needs to print this, barring any problems, which you'd contact me on. And this page here would show us what the status is, and it'll update. And this one says, thank you for your order. I'll check on it shortly. My average time to get back is 17 minutes.
It's going to be affected now.
Yeah, right. You're never going to get back to me. Right? Did they calculate that for you?
They calculate that for you depending on how quickly I respond.
Do you want to respond so we don't throw you off your average?
I could do that real quick.
All right, we don't want to throw off your average just because you're going to be talking to me
time.
for over 17 seconds.
And then this will be a good thing. While you're talking, I can do this real quick.
All right. So let me go into our last order. So rather than us walking through what we would do here, I'm going to go back to the order that I used before I printed these. I'm going to go to my completed orders, and I'm going to go to this one here, which was these parts that we were just showing you. It shows that my order is completed, but there will also be a history here, hopefully, of everything we talked about. Yeah. So I'm going to start at the bottom while you respond to me and improve your average. You see, here's my original request. I sent him 3 separate files. And if you look here, there's a comment that has, let's see. These are just our last couple. Here, show me all the updates. All right, so I sent these in. Whoops. Sorry, guys. So unfortunately, I've got to keep hitting this button to get to the bottom so we can actually walk through what we talked through. So I sent my initial note. I told you I had a FlashForge Creator Pro.
Mm-hmm.
You came back and said, thanks for your order. He said, I'd love to help you get them printed. They should be pretty simple to print. I did notice on the inside of the cylindrical cutout, there are 8 rather small notches. How crucial are they? So that's a great question. If we switch to the overhead here, what he's talking about is that he noticed these, right? So he noticed these little cutouts, and these are where the T-nut goes into. So the fact that he noticed that means, are they important? Well, it's important to him because the way he orients it when he prints it is going to either keep those or might let they may collapse.
Yes,
right?
With support material. I don't know if you explained what support material was in your prior video.
I didn't.
Okay.
So we will talk about support material in a second. But yeah, so he had a point here that said, how important are these? And I came back and said, then you watched the video.
Yeah, I did.
So,
I watched it. This is early in the morning.
Yeah, so he watched the video that I had just made, and he added support material. Now, what that means is that he, so this is, sort of. So support material is extra material that the printer prints underneath things so that you can print things with overhangs.
Yes.
Right? So if you look at this part here, so if you look at this part, if you wanted to print it this way with the AT Makers face up, this entire area here underneath the brim is going to collapse. It's not going to stand up without something holding it up. So support material allows that to be printed. It's ideal to not need support materials. We would like all of our parts to not need support materials.
It would look the best, and it's easier and cheaper.
But sometimes when you design things, it's just not possible.
Yeah, you can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it. And in the case of T-nuts, every one of the designs we have with T-nuts needs support material to hold this on. By the way, don't look at this as a horribly failed print. So I should be showing the other one here. So, but it doesn't have a T-nut in it. So I did not have a level bed when I started this, and it failed.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So all right. Yeah.
Just don't say the end.
You don't need to lecture me on this, okay? I got it. So anyway, so support material was needed, and he was recognizing that, and it wasn't included in the original cost. So he came back and he added 34 cents to it for sales tax and $1.70 for the support materials. And he said it's expected. He changed the expected order date, and I told him he could bring them over in person because he was right around the corner. And then we went back and forth a couple times. I eventually did a review for you and said you did a good job, and he said thank you. So this actually monitored this entire transaction, and the charge, it charged me after I said, so this said, Ryan said he hand delivered them, and then I actually got a note that said, please confirm that you received these, and when I did that, you got your money.
Correct, yeah.
Right. So nobody ever had any money at risk, right? I mean,
I just had that.
You had filament and time at risk, right?
Exactly.
Right, but then again, you were going to make money at the end, so we're good. So I will. I'm going to go through a couple things more about the printing, but that's kind of the process here. So how many of these hubs are going to be different? Some are going to be really. Some of them are going to be really busy. Some of them are going to be really slow.
Yes.
In general, what kind of demand is there for this? Are you printing something every day?
I've got stuff printing pretty much every day. Yep.
Okay.
from California all the way to just Orlando.
Okay. And so you do 3D printed parts. You do lots of different kinds of materials. Do you do anything that is beyond that? Any assembly? Do you do things that go with your parts? Will you ship? So in our case, I mean, what I'm getting down to is, can you do the step beyond the part? Can you insert the T-nut, include the screws and things like that?
I can do that. Yes, it's actually in 3D Hubs. There's a feature where you can add like how I added the sales tax and the support. There's a drop down where I can add like extra material, support material tax, extra shipping, stuff like that. So if the customer does, make a special, they submit something special, and they're like, okay, can you actually put this together? I don't have the tools, because somebody might not have a shop, because I have a shop at home. So I've got pretty much every tool that I would need to do most assemblies for stuff like that. So if they don't have that type of tool, they can say, hey, can you do this? And then I'll have to add, extra fee depending on how much time is put into it, as well as the materials that are put into it. I can surely do that. I could also assemble things. Pretty much, if you're specific with what you want, I can probably do it for you, yeah. And I'm sure there are a few other hubs out there, because a lot of them they're kind of hobbyists, so they like doing that type of stuff.
They want to pay for their 3D printer.
Exactly. They want to get it paid off, yeah, exactly.
Right. That's exactly right.
So if you provide specific details of how you want it to go together, or if you want something special, I'm sure that most hub people can do that.
Well, one of the nice things about that for us, especially with these T-nut mounted things, is that they want to make sure that they don't want to get the wrong T-nut. They don't want to get the wrong screws, right? So in this case, if we did a lot of these, if you guys want to go to Retigic,
yeah.
What game?
It's many years ago. I was playing a game.
Yeah, game.
Exactly.
It had to be a game.
I came up with the name, and I just my dad heard it the other day, or many months ago, and he's like, "That's a really cool name," and I was like, "Yeah, I guess it's a cool name." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Why don't you make that your hub name, your business name, and everything?" Yes, yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, that'll work.
All right. So, so you guys, you don't have to be in Palm Harbor to use Retigic. You can ship nationwide, worldwide.
As of now, it's just U.S.
You could.
Yeah, I could. I have to.
You're talking to people in other countries, at least Canada. I know there's Canadians
okay,
here.
I can figure it out.
Okay, you can figure it out.
I can definitely figure it out.
So all your money flows through Amsterdam. You can work this out.
I can do that.
All right. So that's great. Now you also brought me a couple other things to see here today. By the way, I have other parts to show you. We'll put those on there as well. Not this one because it's ugly. But you brought me this, right? So this is really neat. But this is more for me than the AT folks. But there will be some times when this is needed. So tell me what this is.
All right, so this, we discussed earlier what support material was. So this white stuff underneath, that's actually dissolvable support material, so soluble. So in a lot of cases, people want some really intricate parts, that normal support material you just can't get into like crevices or something to pull it out.
Right.
So what you do is you submerge this in water. Within a few hours, it'll dissolve. So I decided to print it with the dissolvable material.
Just to see how it did.
Just to see how it did. It didn't turn out as good as I wanted with such a small part because it held the heat in, causing plastic to warp, which was unfortunate. But it kind of proved that just these don't need to be printed with the more because the soluble material is quite a bit more expensive. You'll find people on 3D Hubs who can do it, but they're probably going to charge quite a bit more because the machinery itself is more, as well as the plastic because it's a specialty.
This is PVA?
It's PVA, yep.
Yeah, so
kind of a special Ultimaker's PVA.
Polyvinyl acrylate?
Something like that.
Polyvinyl acrylate?
Sounds good.
All right, we're going to go with that. No idea if it's correct. So I did actually finish a few others that you haven't seen yet. So this one is, and maybe I'll ask you what you think of how hard these would be to print. While I have you here. So this one here, hey, switch again. So this is a friction mount. You can pull it out.
Printed it like that?
I did.
All right.
So this is the honeybee from Adaptivation. So Jonathan, your switch. You'll see it's got the name on the back. The T-nut's already been inserted in this one. Is there anything about that would cause you any heartburn?
No, not really. The only things that you're going to see, some cosmetic flaws, which are just because support material, because it's got to build it up underneath there, and then you got to snap it off. So that's the only part there that could just look a little funny. Same with the
inside of the ring there.
Yeah, it's the same concept with the support material.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that should be That should be a fairly easy print, in my opinion.
Okay.
And that wouldn't affect the
No,
Structural.
it shouldn't affect.
No.
Not at all. Nope,
No,
just
absolutely, yeah.
cosmetics.
Yep. So these are all. So there's this one. Can you tell me ballpark? Let's use this one, which isn't ugly on the bottom. So this is for a Big Mac or a big red 5-inch switch. Let's show this one. Is there anything on this one that catches your eye, or you think it's going to be an issue?
No, I don't think so, because it's just going to be printed flat like that. Your underside here, as well as support material, you're going to have a little bit of a...
And you can see it was. You can see where it pulled out of there, yeah.
It'll work. You still got your slots where you can put the T-nut in and pull it in snug, and it should work. But besides that, shouldn't require much support material. Another thing is, 3D hubs, they, let me get in camera, okay. 3D hubs, they quote you on 20% infill.
Okay.
Which means that your part is going to be 80% hollow.
Right.
So let's say this part was, let's say 100 cubic centimeters.
Right.
Okay. And you wanted it at 100 or at 20% infill, which would mean that it'd be 20 cubic centimeters of weight.
Right.
Of your volume would be now
Right.
20 cubic centimeters instead of the 100%, which
Correct.
would be the 100 cubic
Right.
centimeters. Should be 80% hollow, you know.
Right.
So you get all that, which is it's lighter,
Right.
Because it's only 20%.
And it's less filament.
Yeah, exactly, and it's cheaper,
Right.
and quicker to print. So everything is based on a 20%. So you were talking about that item that would require like
A lot
10
of weight.
pounds or something
Right.
like that.
Pulse
You would,
ox.
yes, you would want to make sure to mention to your hub, to the person that you're working with on your hub, to mention the weight of it, of what it has to hold and everything, and say that you probably want to require more infill, which would mean more plastic in the part.
Okay.
So a 50% is a good kind of structure. It's kind of a 50-50, you know, and that's a good way to start. But 20% it's good, but
Right.
in cases where you need a lot of weight is going to be bearing down on it, you're going to want to mention to them that there's going to be quite a bit of weight so they can add more to it. Of course, it's going to add to your price, but...
Let me show them where they'd find that. So on Thingiverse, which is where we host these files, I'm clicking up there again, sorry. On Thingiverse, when you look at the part, in this case this would be for the eye gaze mount, right down here there's a section under where it says Thing Details. There's a section that says Print Settings, and it says, you know, I did this on a FlashForge Creator Pro, no rafts, yes supports, and it says I did it at a 200 microns, 0.2 millimeters, and I said this was a 20% infill. So if this said 80%, and if it says 80% or 60%, I'm going to tell you why, right? Whoever designed the part
That's
is
a
going to
lot.
tell you why, yeah. Actually, I think if you grab that white one right there,
This?
yeah, I think that, so when I first made this with the ABS, sorry, I'm new to this, to the video stuff, thank you. So this is actually the first iteration of our candy corn switch mount, and there you go. And this one I actually printed at, I think, 75% infill. One of them was printed at 75% infill. It might be the one that's on it. Wait here, smile at the camera. I don't have it anyways. Oh well. So I printed some that were like 80%. They took forever. They
do take a lot
They
of
took
time.
absolutely forever to do that crazy infill, and it definitely is something that you want to start around 20.
20 is it? I think that's why their quotes are based on 20, because in most cases 20 is all you need.
Right, and it's strong enough, right?
Yep.
You want to look through this one?
Yeah, this all total.
And here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So this unscrews.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, so just kind of look inside of it, and Bill's put a switch inside here, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't really see much of a.
Other than the fact that this is all ABS, which
Yeah.
none of us now want to do.
No.
So,
And
the
that's-
nice thing about ABS is it sands really smooth. You're not-
ABS it's pretty nice. I don't print it mostly because my business is inside the house.
Right.
And you don't
That
want
stinks.
ABS
That
printing
smells
all
awful,
day
yeah.
long. It's not really great for you, and
Right.
it kind of has a bad odor. And you
Gotcha.
know, people don't really like that smell in the house. So
Gotcha.
you gotta stay away from that. And PLA doesn't have like the worst stuff, but this,
It smells like burning candy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
PLA is kind of nice.
This wouldn't be that hard for a hub to print as long as you submit it to them, and they'll get back with you if they think that they're gonna have an issue printing it. They should let
They'll
you
tell you,
know,
right.
and then you can go find somebody else. But in most cases, I think everybody
are all
should be
good.
able to print that. Yeah.
Good.
And this is 100% flat on the back of the black?
It is.
Okay, yeah, then that'd be
Yeah.
really easy.
Yep. Actually, I don't like this design. This was my first design for getting the screws in the back.
Those are the threaded
So
ones?
it's threaded.
Okay.
And I really prefer the T-nuts. The T-nuts are like
Those seem to be pretty good.
they are a really good way to mount things. All right. All right. Well, we've probably taken up more time than they are willing to spend
Yeah,
anyways. So
exactly.
let's see if anybody has sent us any questions. Probably not. Let's look on the Facebook page. Probably. I would kind of be shocked because really they should all be working today. You should all be working today. Nothing. No questions. All right. That's okay. We got a lot out of this, and they're gonna understand at this point. I hope they can see us. Okay. They're gonna understand.
Two people watching.
There's 2 people watching. So welcome. Say hi in the chat. Let me switch back over here. All right. Do you have any questions about what we're doing? I mean, we've kind of talked about AT and what we're doing, but is there anything I can answer or anything that anything you have for me?
As of now, I can't think of anything, but I'm sure there's going to be questions to come.
Jim, you have any?
No, I think it's just great that you're doing this.
Oh, well, good. Thanks. So Jim, by the way, is also heavily involved in FTC. FTC is First Tech Challenge. You want to come in and say hi? Here. So this is Jim. This is Ryan's dad. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. So Jim Olson, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and so we actually met, oddly, at the FTC kickoff
In
earlier
September.
this year. Yeah. And we didn't know that, but we did. And then we were here, and he was like, I saw a guy doing this. I'm like, that was me.
Yes, that's true.
But we are, we're lucky to have you guys in town. I think it's important for these guys to know you don't have to go to your local 3D hubs.
No.
I mean, it's nice because you might meet them, and you might actually meet somebody in your area who can help you get started in 3D printing or modeling and things like that. But you guys, they could use you. They could use the largest one on there, right, or whatever it is.
Use whoever
that
they
works.
want.
Right. All right. Any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Support your 3D Hubs guy.
Support this 3D Hubs guy, right?
This guy in particular.
Yeah, this
yes.
one in particular. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, and this will be up on YouTube in about 5 minutes. But for those of you who did join us live, thank you. I'm going to check one more time, make sure you don't have any questions, and I don't see any, so we're all good. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Thanks, Bill.